afternoon and welcome to the Lyric Professors. I am Professor A and today I am not dying of hay fever, so I might be able to read my notes. With us as ever, with me as ever, is the snaptress of song, Professor Dogger, behind me. And on the other side of the world, with his guitar ready for a demonstration, Professor J. Take it away, Professor J.
Hello. Well, we're continuing the series of augmented chords. So this is my favorite voice, or the easiest voicing for an augmented D. Rather than doing anything crazy, just move that finger up one. That's a D. Because what you're doing is you're sharpening the fifth or you're flattening the sixth. Now, which band do we know who likes a good flattened sixth in their bass line, Professor A?
Is it the Beatles?
No, it's the Sisters of Mercy, as per the instructions on how to write a Sisters of Mercy song in under
How to Eldritch was the video, yes. Yes, we should post a link to that because it was very helpful in our discussions of Sisters of Mercy. Yeah. As stated, I apologise for not being able to read my notes in the last session. I had a bad hay fever, I couldn't see. So I think I made a couple of tiny little factual errors, but we'll just ignore that from now on. So we are today concluding our discussion of the songs and lyrics of Lana Del Rey. This is part 4, our first 4-parter, which is a worrying omen for things to come. Today we are going to cover the remaining 2 songs we have picked, first of which is Arcadia. Unless you have anything else to add, Professor J, would you like to take the lyrics away?
Well, it was released on September the 8th, 2021, the second and final single from Lana Del Rey's 8th studio album, Blue Banisters. Yes. It has a length of 4 minutes and 23 seconds.
Okay. I've got it written down that she released 3 songs from the record.
Wow, one of us is wrong.
Yeah. Yes. It's this was her second album of the year, 2021, after Chemtrails Over the Country Club, and is quite introspective, very introspective, really. It's sort of she's claimed it's a telling of her own story in response to criticism from the media, basically. And this song is quite interesting, I think. I may be alone in that, but
she's got a high output. The amount of albums she puts out, it's impressive.
And they've all got 14 or 15 songs on them as well, and they're all, as I said, a CD busting 80 minutes.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. Words. My body is a map of LA. I stand straight like an angel with a halo, hanging out the Hilton hotel window, screaming, "Hey, baby, let's go."
So, what do we know about LA? I've never been there.
It's a strange place. LA.
Sure. I've been to San Diego. That was bad enough.
Well, I mean, it's not so much that. It's a big city, but there's no kind of central focus point. I think I read somewhere a long time ago, so this will be paraphrasing somewhat, that it's 19 districts looking for a home. So there's the kind of greater LA there's no kind of, this is LA. Los Angeles is all these kind of individual cities plonked together. So it's hot, it's on the coast, got a lot going on. That's about as much. So I've been there a few times. Yeah. Okay, I like the beaches.
Of course, the center of the American movie industry.
Indeed it is.
So in the context, yes, indeed. In the context of LDR, she moved from her native New York to LA in 2012 and was there for quite some time, up till this album, I presume. I'm not entirely sure. And this song seems to be, we haven't got to that bit yet, so I probably shouldn't mention it, but it seems to be about her deciding she wants to leave LA and go somewhere else for a sort of quieter life at this stage of her life.
So, where is she now? Where does she live now?
don't know, but I think this song is about moving to Arcadia, which is a city 19 miles away from the greater LA area. So it's just moving to the suburbs.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. The saying she's standing straight like an angel with a halo. Obviously, Los Angeles is known as the city of angels. So that's a relevancy there. Hanging out to the Hilton Hotel window, screaming, "Hey, you baby, let's go!" Well, so I persuade someone to move away from LA with her. Who knows? I mean, the Hilton Hotel, as we discussed, the Sheraton Hotel for Sisters of Mercy is a global hotel chain, so there's a Hilton pretty much everywhere. Apparently, there's 2 in Arcadia and 1 in San Gabriel, which is mentioned later. So even the smaller satellite cities of LA are big enough to have Hilton hotels by the 2 or whatever. So
Yep. I mean, I was trying to find if there was something specific that happened out of a particular hotel window.
yeah,
I was wondering if it was Michael Jackson holding his baby, but I haven't been
well,
able to find anything relevant.
Yeah, could be. Should have researched that bit, shouldn't we? Really? I kind of skipped that line. Oh well, there we go.
Yeah.
Professionalism as ever. Yeah. It is our watchword.
Okay. Now let's do some more words, some more disturbing words. My chest, the Sierra Madre, my hips, every high and byway that you trace with your fingertips like a Toyota. Run your hands over me like a Land Rover.
Yeah, I like this lyrics. Sierra Madre. What do you know about that?
Very little.
Apparently, there's that. Well, I suppose it's sort of Mother Mountain, isn't it? More, but there are apparently lots of places around the world called Sierra Madre. It's a very popular name for sort of hilly plains and things.
Right.
In fact, I think there's some actual mountain ranges named that. But there is again one of these cities that make up LA is a Sierra Madre, city in Los Angeles County. It sits at the foot of the San Gabriel Valley and is adjacent to Arcadia. Also, as we said, a city 19 miles away from Greater LA. And she's comparing her breasts to the mountains of the Sierra Madre, which sort of reminds me of was it Shakira, who did her song with "My breasts are small and humble, not like a mountain," something like that.
So she's saying hers are mountains. Is that what she's saying?
Pretty much.
Take that, Shakira.
Yes. But of course, she said her body's a map of LA in the first thing, so she just sort of, and in the video, she sort of traces the parts she's talking about. So, yes. Hips every high and byway. Again, it's roads. She's always talking about roads and cars, in fact. We have 2 cars in this section, Toyota and a Land Rover. Neither of them American cars, which I think every car she's previously mentioned in songs have been.
Why did she mention Toyota and Land Rover then?
I know why she mentioned Land Rover. I don't know why Toyota specifically.
Yeah, me too. Well, I guess Toyota is like everybody's got a Toyota Camry in the US, right, or something like that. Or at a time, it was the most. Isn't the Toyota Camry? The Toyota Camry, okay, it's been around for a long time and in various incarnations. But if I'm correct, it's the most selling car ever.
No, you're not. That's the Ford F-150 is the greatest selling car ever. If you can call it a car, it's a pickup truck, but that's sold the most worldwide.
Okay. Well, it sold a lot.
I think, I think it's more that it's the highest selling imported car in America, or non-American car.
Right.
Land Rover, obviously owned by, they're actually owned by Tata, I think, Tata or whatever they're called, but it's Jaguar Land Rover. And she was the face of the launch of the F-Type Jaguar in 2012. And one of her songs was used for the advert for the car. They're made 5 minutes from where my mother lives. Jaguar Land Rover is based. So weird.
they're
Obviously,
they're still in the UK, are they?
yeah. As are Aston Martin, which are allied to them. They're both in the town my mother lives in, and it's weird. You go up there and you see all these sort of prototypes covered in boxes and weird wrappings, so they can't be photographed from the air and that kind of thing. Driving around, it's quite strange.
Is Aston Martin part of Bentley?
I think they're allied to JLR, but I don't really know.
I've got a friend who works for one of them. I forget which one. Fascinating.
Yes, okay. But yeah, I mean, people do, if you're, when they're shopping for a car or whatever, they might run their fingers over the bodywork. It's the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
And of course, Land Rover, she's talking about being a map of LA, so people would rove across the land. So that makes more sense, I think.
Yeah. Okay, more lyrics.
More
to say.
I'll say there's a chap whose name I didn't note, who did this to the genius.com site. And he says, from what I've gathered, there are 3 different interpretations to this line. Talking about the cars. Well, he means this paragraph, not this line, which are all interconnected. The first interpretation sees the first strophe of the song as the beginning of Lana's leaving LA road trip. Her body as a map of LA might only mean she's holding a big map that covers her body to guide her on the voyage. To the ones who are coming with her, she yells from the window of the Hilton Motel, "Hey, let's go." All of the references to California's landscapes might be places she passed by on her journey and might be places located on the map. The whole song, seen through this literal interpretation, will be a beautiful narration of her journey. Toyota and Land Rover could be cars she used or sees on the road. The second interpretation would try to understand this line through the metaphor of her body being a map of LA. Both Toyota and Land Rover are non-American car manufacturers. Maybe this is one of her first indications in this song that she doesn't fit in with LA's landscape anymore, contrasting to her early days when Fords and Chevrolets were integral parts of her songs. This interpretation would be coherent with Arcadia's overall meaning as a letter of goodbye to LA and America after all it's done to her. Oh, I'll cut a bit out. And the third interpretation would be this is a sarcastic and ironic line stretching the limits of absurdity as she compares her body and the city, and as LA is no longer seen through an idealistic lens. Why would anybody use a Toyota as a metaphor to romanticize a city? It's a comedic commentary. I believe all 3 of these meanings can be valid and are interconnected. So there's someone there positing 3 meanings and saying, much like we found in most of the lyrics we study, that there's probably multiple meanings.
Okay, next lines. In Arcadia, all roads that lead to you as integral to me as arteries, that pump the blood that flows straight to the heart of me.
Yeah. Do you know the classical meaning of Arcadia?
I do. Well, I do. Well, Arcadia is a region in ancient Greece known for its peaceful and simple rural life, and it exists now to mean some idyllic, perfect wonderland to escape with nature, I would say.
Pretty much so. And as we said, it's a city in southwestern California.
Well, is it? There are a number of Arcadias in the United States. Would you like to hear them all? Because you're going to.
Good.
There's Arcadia in Phoenix, which is Arizona. There's one in California. There's one in Florida. There's one in Illinois. There's one in Indiana. There's one in Iowa. There's one in Kansas. There's one in Louisiana. There's one in Maryland. One in Michigan. There's Arcadia Lake in Michigan. There's one in Mississippi. There's one in Missouri. There's one in Nebraska. There's one in New York. There's one in North Carolina. There's one in Ohio. One in Oklahoma. One in Pennsylvania. One in Rhode Island. One in South Carolina. One in Tennessee. One in Santa Fe, Texas. One in Shelby County, Texas. One in Buttertort County, Virginia. One in Spotsylvania County, Virginia. There's one in Washington. There's two in Wisconsin. There's another lake. This is in Oklahoma. There's Arcadia Management Area in Rhode Island. And there's a township.
Well, how about that? It's really useful information.
Well, I think it is. You know, I mean, one, she could be talking about any of those things, but for me, it's not a name of a city. It feels like a very American name for a city, and it's more of an impression, right? You know, you can imagine some people landing there. They were fighting from whatever persecution they found in the countries that they came from, and they came to establish their Pleasantville, their Arcadia, this harmonious escape away from whatever they came to. And there's, as you heard, there's a lot of them.
Yeah, I spent a couple of weeks in a place called Pleasanton in Northern California. So there's a lot of pleasants and lovelies and Arcadians. Yeah. So I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So just more things about Arcadia. It's a poetic term associated with bountiful natural splendor and harmony, often inhabited by shepherds, and this concept also figures in Renaissance mythology. It's kind of a utopia.
Yes,
but
it's a rural utopia.
Well, there's a significant point here that I think is important. Arcadia differs from that tradition in that it is specifically unattainable. In fact, it is seen as a lost Edenic form of life, contrasting to the progressive nature of utopian desires. That's the thing, right? She could have said if she was looking for something that she could find, she could have used a number of other different phrases.
But also, it's a city 19 miles.
It's also a city.
So
yeah. Well, that's it. It's 20 miles away. She doesn't need a map to drive 20 miles.
True. You're right. Yeah. Well, then we've got all roads that lead to you as integral to me as arteries. In this country, certainly major roads are referred to as arteries on traffic news and things like that. I don't know if they are in America usually as well. But she gets comparing them to her veins and arteries.
When she says leads to you, do you think she's talking about a person or is she talking about place, Arcadia?
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
I think so. I'm not sure. I hadn't thought of that at all.
Okay, more words. America, America, I can't sleep at home tonight. Send me a Hilton hotel. Or across on the hill, I'm a lost little girl. Finding my way to you, Arcadia.
Yeah, I think that pretty much shows that you is Arcadia in the previous. America obviously has the same syllables as Arcadia. And as you said, she is I don't think we covered the song in question, but on one of the songs from the Paradise album, she says she believes. Oh, yes, we did. It's in the outro of the video outro from Ride. She says she believes in America as it used to be. And I think that's kind of the point. She's into the history of America and the style of Americana, that kind of thing, rather than being a sort of tub thumping America F yeah kind of thing. As from what was that? That was from the South Park thing, America.
World Police
cartoon film. That's it. Yeah. So she's not, when she sings America, America, she's not singing, oh, America's great, fantastic, or whatever. And this song was actually performed at Glastonbury a couple of days ago. And everyone in the audience, all the British and European people, happily joined in yelling out America, because they know it's not a America is better than you kind of song, like so many of the songs which mention it. Yes. She can't sleep at home tonight, so wants a Hilton hotel. Well, there's two in Arcadia, so that's all right.
Yeah.
Or a cross on the hill. I don't know. Is there a specific huge cross somewhere around LA that could be referred to, or is she just saying, I want a landmark? Is it a reference to your Jesus? I don't know.
Don't know. There's a Hollywood sign.
Yeah, not known for being a cross, though, is it? It's known for saying Hollywood. Of course, it used to say Hollywood Land, didn't it? But it doesn't anymore. Yes. So yeah, sure. It could well be a reference to God. Yes, a symbol of guidance and faith.
Yeah. I mean, what you said about the Hilton Hotel is correct. So there was a time when every 3 weeks I'd be in a different Hilton somewhere in the world, and they're all the same. And that's the idea, that you can wake up and you can be in the Philippines, you can be in Switzerland, you can be in America. The rooms are all identical, but they're kind of and the conference rooms are pretty much identical. So you can have whatever meeting you need to have, and it's familiar.
Yeah, that's a good point. I did a lot of traveling around for work as well earlier in my life, and I didn't get Hilton's there. I was very lucky. I got a Best Western, which is probably, I think, the same concept. I think they're all pretty much the same as well. It's probably a well-known thing in hoteliering.
To sleep, right?
Sorry?
Somewhere to sleep.
Yes.
It doesn't really matter, right?
Indeed, yes.
You're there to work, not have fun.
I never got the hang of that, but wasn't very good at it.
All right, I'm doing more words. My body is a map of LA and my heart is like paper. I hate ya. I'm not far from the land of palms, so I know I can't stay here. I'm not native, but.
That's a great place to stop in the middle of a sentence. Okay. Well, it's not. I'm not far from the land of the palms. It's I'm not from the land of the palms.
Ah, yes, that's what I got written. I just said it wrong.
Yes. Okay. So a heart made of paper would be very fragile and prone to tearing and ripping. So she says she's vulnerable, although several other songs she says she's not. It's hard to keep track, really. And she hates someone she's broken up with, I expect. But the point is, I'm not from the land of the palms. I'm not from LA, and I can't stay here. It's just not working in LA anymore. So you'd think, though, if you were feeling that way, you'd probably want to move a little further away than 19 miles.
Exactly.
Who knows? Who knows?
How fast, isn't it? So, Paper Heart, there's a 2009.
I thought there was a famous song called Paper Heart, but I couldn't place it.
Well, we have Paper Heart, a 2009 romantic comedy film. We have a 2000 album by Chloe Howe, of which Paper Heart is the title track. We have a 2011 song by Stealing Angels. We have the 10th episode of the 4th season of X-Files. We have an American rock band. And we have a 2017 song by the Vamps. Maybe that's the one you're thinking.
I have heard of the Vamps, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. Dogger's on the case.
Yes.
Right. Would you like to carry on from the sentence you left halfway?
Well, my next words are my curves. Okay.
Yeah.
My curves sang Gabrielle all day. My lips, like the fire, licks the bay. If you think that you know yourself, you can come over. Lay your hands on me like you're a Land Rover in Arcadia.
Yeah. Of course, I'm not native, but my curves sang Gabriel all day.
Okay.
She's not from there, but she's referring herself again to the curves of San Gabriel, which is another city around the LA area. And she's written about LA and wanting to leave it before. A song called "Let Me Love You Like a Woman" from the previous album. She says, "I come from a small town. How about you? I only mention it because I'm ready to leave LA." So it's just a recurring theme across the two albums from that year.
Leave already.
And, yeah, and then from her 2020 poetry book and CD, Violet Bent Backwards Over the Grass, she had another poem called "LA, Who Am I to Love You?" which she talks about leaving. San Gabriel is a city in Los Angeles that was inhabited by the Tongva Native Americans, which is a new one on me. And it was originally called something else in their language. I don't know what, because we're not allowed to look at Wikipedia apparently anymore. But when the Spanish arrived and did nasty things to the Native Americans, they set up the Mission San Gabriel Archangel in 1771. The town was named after them. And there are the San Gabriel Mountains, which are not jagged mountains, as there aren't any of those in California. It's they're rolling peaks, so she's metaphorically comparing the rolling peaks to her curves. The next line is something that we've discussed before during our Nick Cave episode. I think "Lips like the fire licks the bay" is she's referring to the wildfires on the beaches.
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
To her lips, her lips come in and set off fires, that kind of thing, talking romantically or sexually. But the San Francisco Bay had flames right down to the water as well.
Yeah.
So it was all over the place. It wasn't just Hollywood where Nick came. It was.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's an ongoing problem. I don't know if they have them this year yet, but it's not a good situation, really. And the next bit, if you think that you know yourself, you can come over. So she wants anyone she gets involved with to know themselves. Does anyone ever really know themselves? I'm not sure. So I certainly don't know me. I don't think. I don't know. Maybe this is referring back to the chap from the Mariners apartment complex who thought they had a lot in common because they were both miserable or something. So yeah, Land Rover again. And that is pretty much it, isn't it? Oh no, there's one more verse after a couple of
No, there's more. There's more. So we got some repetitions. She's on a hill. There's a Hilton Hotel, and then the final bit that's different is this bit here.
Yes.
So they built me up 300 feet tall just to tear me down. So I'm leaving with nothing but laughter and this town, Arcadia. Finding my way to ya. I'm leaving them as I was, 5'8", western bound, plus the hate that they gave. By the way, thanks for that. On the way, I'll pray for you, but you need a miracle, America.
Yeah. This is obviously talking about her hitting back about all the criticism she's received. Part of it was 2021. She gave an interview to the BBC about, well, not about, but in which she mentioned Donald Trump. That was taken vastly out of context, and she was accused of being a narcissistic Trump supporter when she basically said exactly the opposite. What she said was, the madness of Trump, as bad as it was, it really needed to happen. We really needed a reflection of our world's greatest problem, which is not climate change, but sociopathy and narcissism, especially in America. It's going to kill the world. It's not capitalism, it's narcissism. and that apparently is defending Trump. So I have no idea. I think I'd probably write a song about criticism if one was on the end of that. The 300 feet tall could be an allusion to the Statue of Liberty, which is just over 300 feet tall, 305, but that wouldn't fit the meter. So it could be a relation to that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it's the built me up to 10.
It wouldn't fit the meter because it's in feet.
Very funny. Yes, the built up and tear downs, the tall poppy syndrome, beloved of tabloids in this country and pretty much everyone in America, I think, who like to. When someone gets too popular, you stop liking them. I think. I generally don't like anyone in the first place. It doesn't apply to me. But anyway, so she says very positively. After this, I'm leaving with nothing but laughter. And this town, Arcadia, finding my way to you. I'm on my way to Arcadia, and I'm leaving them as I was, 5'8". I've got here Western belts, not Western bound, but I don't understand that at all.
I mean, Western bound. She's moving west. So
she's not though. She's going northeast to Arcadia.
She starts in New York.
Western belt. Western belt's a cowboy belt with they were fashionable for a bit, weren't they? Big, wide leather belts, things. I presume.
So.
And presumably she's 5'8", not 300 foot tall, so that's reasonable. I wouldn't have thought she was that tall from seeing her on stage. Apparently she is. There you go. And thanks for all the hate you gave me on that. And in return, I'll pray for you. But you'll need a miracle, America, because it's such a messed up place. Which it is, but so are we. Presume France is too. Oh, well, not meant to say where. It's the other side of the world. Is that messed up too?
So she's moving on.
Yeah, I think it's a beautiful ballad, to be honest, even though it's not the standard lyrics of a ballad.
I really didn't like it. One, she had that slightly annoying voice again, but the worst thing was this overly sexual start to the video. I found very uncomfortable to watch. I found it horrible.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't really referring to the video. I was referring to the song.
Yeah, the song's good. I like the song.
Yes.
The video it's a really odd choice. It's a really odd choice why she's done that.
Yeah.
Unless it's part of the whole thing, that she's being exploited and wants to take the power back. But I found the video unwatchable.
It stops being like that. It starts being the projection of places in LA. Yeah. Oh well. So, how is your time, Professor?
Hang on. This one isn't the one that is this the one that changes at the end of the video?
It plays part of a different track from the album, I think, which isn't actually part of Arcadia.
Yeah, it's like a dancey thing. A minute of that at the end.
It's an interlude. She likes to have interludes on her own.
I liked that.
I can't remember it, to be honest, but yeah, I'll have to.
Yeah, we can carry on with the other one.
Do the last one? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, the last track we've chosen is the title track of her recent album, about a month ago at this stage, maybe two. Time flies when you're trying to do podcasts. The song and the album are called Did You Know There's a Tunnel Under Ocean Boulevard, spelt Boulevard. Boulevard, yes. And this is another big ballad. We're finishing with two big ballads. How about that?
Well, a 4 minutes 45 ballad.
Well, feels longer. Okay.
Okay.
This was the first song released in advance of the album, first single, if you will. Which, considering its lyrics, is a bold choice for a single, I'll say. Although probably not as bold as the second single, A and W, which we're not covering. But is a very interesting song.
Okay. Yeah, so the album was released in March of 2023.
Really? Wow. Okay.
And this was December 22, if I remember right, although I don't have it noted anymore.
7th of December 22.
There we go. All right, I'm diving into some words. Did you know that there's a tunnel under Ocean Boulevard? Mosaic ceilings, painted tiles on the wall. I can't help but feel somewhat like my body marred my soul. Handmade beauty, sealed up by two man-made walls, and I'm like,
Yeah. I should state in advance that there is a lot of discussion and argument about what the lyrics of this song actually are, especially towards the end of it. It's not just on different lyric sites who all seem to have something different on the official Reddit subreddit, whatever you call it. They can't agree on what the lyrics are. There's no official lyric sheet being released. So
right.
we may have differences, and we may discuss possibilities rather than actual lyrics at some point. But this bit, yeah, fine with this bit. So it's talking about a specific tunnel under Ocean Boulevard. Do you know where this particular Ocean Boulevard is, Professor J?
It's in Los Angeles.
It's in Long Beach. Is that Los Angeles? I presume it is. Yes.
Yes. Well, that's a good question, actually. So Long Beach is that bit kind of around the bottom, right? I think it's in Los Angeles County. So let's for the purpose of this, let's call it Los Angeles, and comment below if you don't like that.
The can of worms, the comments we could get for some of the inaccuracies I've said. Anyway, yeah,
exactly.
let's talk about us.
Where do you think it rates in the population of cities in the United States? Long Beach. Professor A.
50th?
Not bad. 42nd most populous city in the US, with a population of 466,000.
I thought they'd have had more than that. This is quite a lot, though, isn't it? Yeah.
It's 500,000 in basically a county that's got 20 places that are all 500,000.
Yeah. Sure. What she's referring to is a historical and actual tunnel called the Juergens Tunnel, which was built in 1927 with the purpose of providing safe passage under the roads to get to the beach for pedestrians. And as she says in the second line, it had mosaic ceilings and painted tiles. It was sort of attractive in its way for a tunnel. And I believe, although I don't have any notes written down about it, but I believe people used to sort of hire it and run banquets and parties in it at times as well, because it was that well decorated.
But when did it close?
It closed in 1967. It was closed to the public.
Because I found some inconsistency there. I found somewhere that it closed in 1988. Maybe that was, yeah.
Well, so anyway. It closed to the public in 1967. Perhaps they were still renting it out for parties and things.
Yeah, exactly.
1988 or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Why did they close
it? That's a good point. I don't actually know. I presume it was for safety of some kind. I know here in this country there seems to be a tendency to close down underpasses under roads.
Because, really?
Yeah, they've closed the one in the town I live in recently because they're considered to be unsafe. People get mugged there and murdered.
Yeah, I guess so. Yes, it's closed in 1967 and was closed for all the reasons you're saying. The area took a downturn and the tunnel became a haven for the homeless and criminals.
Yeah. Hello, Dogger. So obviously, as it's closed in 1967, she's sort of legitimately asking, did you know there's a tunnel there? Because it's not obvious to anyone, who wasn't around in 1967. You can't see it at all from outside, I think, now.
Yeah.
Where it's sealed up by two man-made walls. She refers to the inside as beauty. Do you know about the "I can't help but feel somewhat like my body marred my soul" line?
No.
Well, having actually done some research for once in my life, it's a sort of reversed quote from The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oliver Wilde.
Oh,
I'll give
okay.
you the quick quote here. Yes, there would be a day when his face would be wrinkled and wizened, his eyes dim and colourless, the grace of his figure broken and deformed. The scarlet would pass away from his lips, and the gold steal from his hair. The life that was to make his soul would mar his body. He would become dreadfully hideous and uncouth. Of course, Picture of Dorian Gray, quick summary for people who don't know. It's about a bloke who has a painted picture of himself in his attic. When that gets old, he does not.
That sounds like the final bit, right? Almost like the word epilogue, epitaph at the end of the book, if I
Yes,
remember correctly.
I believe it is towards the end. Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's that, and also maybe she's saying that the attention she's received from being considered beautiful, attractive, whatever, has stilted the growth of her soul and
Yeah.
things like that as well. This is a sad song, I think.
Yeah. I mean, no one's forcing her, right? She can just go to Arcadia, stop singing. She's
Yeah,
probably
I
made
don't
it.
know how much power over you record companies have when you signed a contract demanding you do live gigs and things like that. I don't know. But
Presumably, she's independently wealthy enough that she can extract herself
you
from any
think so?
contract.
Yeah.
She's normally, even in the days when they did have big contracts, it was you will write the next 10 albums, and with her output, she's probably covered any of
Yeah.
those contractual obligations.
But I think for her, if there is any issue like that, it's more that she doesn't enjoy playing live. She said that many, many times. Even though she puts on great shows, she just doesn't. She gets stage fright, panic attacks. So, yeah.
Okay, all lines. When's it going to be my turn? Open me up, tell me you like it. F me to death, love me until I love myself. There's a tunnel under Ocean Boulevard.
Yeah. When's it going to be my turn? And people are positive this is, she's saying, when's it going to be her turn to settle down and have a family? I think more likely is she's referring to the tunnel again, saying, when's it going to be my turn to be shut up, closed down?
Right.
I think. So, as it's put online, discarded by she previously, in her 2013 song Young and Beautiful, which was on the Great Gatsby soundtrack, sang Will You Still Love Me When I'm No Longer Young and Beautiful, which I think is something of the same feelings. And yes, it sounds a bit like a Beatles song, yes.
Who will love me tomorrow?
That's the Mission song.
Yes, it is. Tracking song.
Very is a good song. Yeah. So, and also the Jurgens Tunnel was constructed in the same year as the Great Gatsby set. But I'm sure that's complete coincidence because the song's not about the Great Gatsby, it was just in. So yes, and then we get to the chorus, which is a bit full on for a single, but I think it's just the wanting to feel loved and wanting to feel that closeness to people, whatever way it's evinced. It's a very hopeless song in some ways.
Very what song?
Hopeless, not having hope.
Oh, hopeless.
And
Yeah.
open me up is to say is referring to back to the tunnel. Open it
Yeah.
up again.
Tell me you like it. Keep telling me I'm great until I like it myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah. So I
Okay.
guess it's also matter maybe when you've had adulation, you require it. It becomes
Yeah.
a drug, maybe to
Too,
some
right?
extent.
Yeah. All right, I'm doing my lyrics. There's a girl who sings Hotel California, not because she loves the notes or sounds that sound like Florida. It's because she's in a world preserved. Only a few have found the door. It's like Camarillo, only silver mirrors running down the corridor. Oh man.
Yeah. So this is obviously Hotel California is a song by the Eagles. Do you know lots of stuff about Hotel California? I expect you do.
Actually, I don't. But it's clearly one of those songs that every covers group is forced to play. So from her time when she was a traveling singer, I'm sure she's had to sing Hotel Darned California 1,000 times, like everybody asked for. It's a great song, cracking song, but
It is a great
it's
song. I think
but
lyrically it's very good. I'm not that
yeah.
keen on the music myself. But, yeah. She's referenced the Eagles twice before on one song, a song called God Knows I Tried from Honeymoon. One line is, "It's so crazy I could drink it like tequila sunrise." And then later she says, "Put on that Hotel California." So it's not a new reference. I'm not sure. Why does she think it sounds like Florida? It's fairly obviously Hotel California.
Wasn't there the thing about she was singing in for the Miami businessman, Florida?
Oh yes.
Something to do with that.
So yeah. So if, as you say, if she's having to perform it in clubs, then that would make it sound like when she was in Florida. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
And then what's this whole reference to Camarillo? I couldn't really, I didn't understand that. It's another city in California, right?
Yeah, it's the city in Ventura County. There's a famous the appropriate word for it. Mental hospital. There you go. State mental hospital in Camarillo. And lots of people think that it's pictured on the cover of the album Hotel California by the Eagles. It isn't actually. That's another building in Santa Barbara, but it looks very like the mental hospital in Camarillo. And people also think that that was the inspiration for some of the lyrics of Hotel California, which is, according to the internet, an extended metaphor for being unable to escape the glamorous excess of American culture, particularly within the trappings of fame and fortune. The song culminates with the narrator desperately seeking for the door, but finding himself unable to leave.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like this, right? Yeah, you can check out anytime you want, but you can never leave, right?
Just give you the last verse. Last thing I remember, I was running for the door. I had to find a passage back to the place I was before. Relax, said the night man. We are programmed to receive. You can check out any time you like, but you can never leave. Yes.
Cracking lyrics. I mean, it's similar to this, right? She's saying that she doesn't want to be living this life, and to somebody like us in our very blinkered view of it, I mean, it looks like she can stop any time, but
yes, yeah,
she cannot.
Because I think that's possibly because when you've had the success you require, and she's pretty young to be retiring anyway. It's nice.
Yeah, but if she doesn't like it, then she should stop. Right? Yeah, so I see that now. So it's like Camarillo. So it's a that sort of a hospital, but there's silver mirrors. So it's somewhere very glamorous. Asylum.
Yes, and then running down the corridor, as in last thing I remember, I was running for the door. So
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to do some more lyrics. When's it going to be my turn? Don't forget me. When's it going to be my turn? Open up Open me up, tell me you like me, F me to death, love me till I love myself, a tunnel under Ocean Boulevard, don't forget me. So that's kind of repetition of what we had before, more or less. I don't think there's much different there.
No, that's the same. Then we have the last first.
Right. Now then.
And this is
Harry
where
Nilsson.
people start disagreeing about what the lyrics are. So
Excellent. Let's go. Harry Nilsson has a song. His voice breaks at 2 minutes, 2:05. Something about the way he says, "Don't forget me," makes me feel like I just wish I had a friend like him, somebody to get me by. Leaning in my back, whispering in my ear, "Come on, baby, you can drive." But I can't. All right. Who was Harry Nilsson? And had you heard of him before this?
I had heard of him. Without You is a fantastic song.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard this song though, Don't Forget Me, which I listened to again this morning, and it's a nice enough song. So we can agree about the first line. Harry Nilsson has a song. His voice breaks at 2:05.
I want to talk more about Harry. I'm into Harry.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I was going to talk more about him, but go on.
Right. So yes, I'd never heard of him. So yes, you mentioned his favorite song, "Everybody's Talking," which was from 1969. It was in, now I've forgotten which film it is, but is it Midnight Cowboy? But it's in a very famous movie from the early 70s. But I most remember it from the episode of Only Fools and Horses, the Jolly Boys outing. Do you remember that one?
I do,
yeah. So amazingly, I'd never heard of him because I mean, just everybody loved him. He had a great album name which I adore. His probably most popular album. So it had this. I think it had Everybody's Talking on it, and it had Without You, which is a song I know well. And the album was called Nilsson Schmilsson, which
I didn't know that.
which I think is pretty great. He was the Beatles' favorite artist. He was very close friends with both John and Paul. And there is a 2006 documentary called "Who Is Harry Nilsson?" And the people involved or interviewed as part of that documentary include Brian Wilson, Randy Newman, Robin Williams, Mickey Dolenz, and Yoko Ono. Sadly, he died at the age of 52. And there's a moment in the documentary when one of the Pythons says, and again, I'm paraphrasing, he chased an extreme life and eventually it caught up with him. So he was part of the infamous Hollywood Vampires Drinking Club.
Right. I'm not aware of them.
So, well, think Alice Cooper and Keith Moon, and yes.
Was Warren Zevon involved with?
Not that I read.
I know he was in some famous rock star drinking club in LA.
Yeah, it would be something like that. So I love his voice. He was famous for having a 3-octave vocal range, which got damaged at some point. He hemorrhaged one of his vocal cords whilst attempting a primal scream-like take of Bob Dylan's Subterranean Homesick Blues.
Don't want to do that.
No. The documentary is great. It's on the YouTubes. You should watch it.
Yes. So, as you mentioned, John Lennon, he produced this whole album, which Don't Forget Me is on.
All right. Yeah, he was very sad. They say that he never really got over the death of John Lennon, Harry Nilsson.
Yeah. So obviously at 2:05 in the song "Don't Forget Me," his voice breaks a bit. Especially authenticity. So, yeah, Lana's saying, "I wish I had a friend like him." Now this is where the lyrics start to get disputed. I don't remember
Right.
what you said after that. I've got someone to give me 5.
I've got someone to get me by.
Right. Either could be possible. It's
Right.
fine. But the next bit is the real. You had leaning in my back.
Yep.
A lot of sites have Lennon in my back
Oh,
because John Lennon produced that
baby, you
song.
can drive. Yes. And
But that could also be You Can Thrive. That's also disputed. Drive or thrive.
oh.
Of course, it could
Well, I
be
was
a
going to
relation
say,
to Baby, You Can Drive My Car. Yeah.
yeah.
And also, she did a collaboration with Sean Lennon at some point. So there was a connection
All
with
right.
the Lennon family.
Sean. I thought
Not
Julian
sure.
was the one who was the musician.
So I'm
But
wrong
yeah.
about that. It's definitely whichever one of the Lennons was up for it, she did a collaboration. Yeah, so
Okay.
it could be Lennon, it could be leaning, it could be Come on baby, you can drive, come on baby, you can thrive. But she can't, she says. I can't.
She can't drive. She can't thrive.
Well,
Yeah,
she can
I
drive
see.
because we've
Yeah,
seen that in songs. But
exactly. Yeah.
of course, what do you know better than me? The lyrics to "Baby, You Can Drive My Car." It's something, "Baby, You're Going to Be a Star," isn't it? Something like that.
It includes beep 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 yeah, which are some
Yes,
backing
course, yeah.
lyrics. You're
That's
going to
probably what
be
it's
a
referring to.
star, and yeah, and baby, I love you. It says after
Yeah,
be a star.
it could well be that if it's Lennon, certainly.
Yeah. So Lennon, it was with Sean Lennon that she collaborated, and Sean Lennon is the son with Yoko, and Julian Lennon was born with his first wife, Cynthia. Okay.
Yeah, and that's pretty much the song, except for some. Yeah, oh, don't forget me, don't forget me. No, don't forget me. No, no, oh. Almost a
Yeah.
no-no in there. Yeah.
So, where do you think? How successful do you think the single was?
I have difficulty with the whole concept of singles these days
Yeah.
because people don't release actual singles, do they? I mean, you can't buy a
Yeah.
single anymore. It's just a track that you want played on YouTube or whatever,
Yeah.
Spotify. So
Yeah. I mean,
I don't.
I saw a list with the chart position. I didn't really realize it existed. So, where do you think it got to in the US Hot Rock and Alternative Songs Billboard?
172.
23. Where do you think it got to in the UK singles chart?
Well, it depends if it's based on streams or download or radio play, because it wouldn't be
I
played on the radio.
don't know what it's based on.
We'll say 20.
98.
She's usually more popular here than there.
Interestingly, we've got data for Lithuania.
That's useful, isn't it?
It's got 94 in Lithuania. I mean, it's of all the countries they've picked Greece, Ireland, Lithuania, New Zealand, UK, and US.
Oh well.
But anyway, again, yeah, I don't know how these things are calculated, as you said, but the highest position there is 19.
Right. Well, speaking of how things are released, I was very interested to see that this album was available on cassette.
Oh, cool.
Didn't think that was a thing.
Cassettes are really cool again. Did you know that?
Oh, but they're rubbish.
Uh,
They get chewed
if
up.
if you've got any old cassette players or any old Walkmans, any old cassettes, people are starting to pay big money for them.
Really?
There's legions of Reddit fans buying cassettes and buying old cassette players. It's come round again.
Really don't understand that because you can argue that vinyl sounds a lot better than CD. I'm partially deaf. I can't tell the difference, but I don't think anyone would ever say that a cassette's better quality than a CD or a vinyl record, would they?
People love them. There we go. Who else do we know who's got an album with Ocean Boulevard in the title?
Or something?
Yeah, it was Eric Clapton. The renowned racist Eric Clapton. Yeah, so this was his second studio album on his own, solo album, 1974's.
So like 461 Ocean Boulevard.
Correct. Very good. So that was the house that he stayed in after he got off the heroines. And he wrote this album trying to sort of make up for the 3 years of his life that he lost before that. It's not great, in my opinion, except for it's got "Let It Grow" on it, which I think is a fantastic song.
Yeah.
That's a brilliant song.
He has done some fantastic music. It's a pity he's just such an execrable person, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I like this song. I think it's really good.
I think it's great, and it's very good live.
Yeah.
Not really got to be performed at Glastonbury. It is.
Yeah.
That's just to sum up from a review of the song I saw online. Someone wrote, "I don't want to be forgotten like the time on Ocean Boulevard. I wish someone could really love me and remember me, making me feel worth the life I live." I think it's quite a good summation.
Yeah, she's presenting. Well, I don't quite see it like that. I think she's hiding her real self under this Lana Del Rey thing. And
I think that's something that could quite possibly be said by anyone that adopts a pseudonym.
Well, the world is but a stage, Professor A.
Yeah, quite. Well, but it must, at some point, leave a dichotomy, if that's the right word, in your mind, in your soul. You must have to struggle to think, which person am I today? Who am I meant to be appearing as? It's difficult. Of course, we do that, don't we, Professor J? That's who you are today. Professor Dogger is not Professor Dogger all week. Are you, girl? No, you're not. So, yeah, I mean, that is the end of our commentary on the works of Lana Del Rey. Who knows? Maybe we'll revisit her in another 10 years or something. I have to say, I am a massive fan, and I've become more of a fan while doing this. Listening to. Yeah, and she's a very complicated girl, basically. If that's a word you're allowed to use these days.
I like the long cinematographic songs. I like them, and I like that one where the chemtrails one where it suddenly changes.
Yes, yeah, that's that poop crazy. Yes, that one's good.
Alrighty.
Yeah. So up next we will have a video episode, which I'm not going to reveal. And then it will be Professor J's next choice for a band for a multi-parter, and then Professor J's choice for a video episode, and then we will be ending season 1. We decided to cut it a bit short because we'd like to get more feedback and see what we need to change before carrying on with everything we had planned. So but that's also about 20 episodes away, let's face it. I don't know why I'm telling you. But there you go. Anyway, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and we will see you shortly. Farewell.
Bye-bye.